Howdy, welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Today's offering is a Revell Fairchild F-27 prop jet transport. This was originally issued by Revell in 1958. It's one of their common box scale kits, so they were made to fit this specific size box. They weren't, Revell at the time wasn't doing a lot of constant scale where they're using the same scale for a lot of different aircraft. They were just designing kits to fit inside the box itself. So this kit actually scales out to 194. It's kit number H297-98, and let's get into it. So you start out with a beautiful box art cover. You've got here's the rear air stairs. The passengers about ready to board. They're loading up some cargo in the front cargo hold. You've got easy to assemble plastic kit. You've got across the bottom here, you've got some information about some of the highlights of the kit: wheels, propellers turn, flaps, rudders, elevators move. You get a ramp, authentic decals, and it mentions the different airliners that are currently using the F-27, or at least were slated to receive it. So you got Bonanza, West Coast, Pacific, Piedmont, Quebec Air, Northern Consolidated, and Aloha. On the side, you've got some box art for some of the other kits were offered by Revell. This is one of their S kits. S stood for styrene, so make sure you're using styrene cement when you're making this. And copyrighted 58, again, the year of issue. The end just repeats the box art from the top. You've got your kit number, 297-98. On the other side, a few more images of some other kits from Revell. So this box is another one of the hard boxes with the lithograph that's been glued onto the hard box itself. And we'll take a look at the instruction sheet. You've got another artist rendition of the F-27. Interesting facts, building tips. This I found interesting. Instead of having this in a specific airliner, this kit gave you addresses of all the different airliners that were flying in it. And you're supposed to mail away to obtain free decals from any one of those airliners. So kind of a unique way of doing that, so you could pick and choose what airline you wanted to make. They did not continue this in their future issues of the kit. Some of these airlines probably went out of business by the time they reissued the kit later on, but an interesting way of doing that. Take a look at instructions itself. It's got a step-by-step with drawings showing the parts, and then information about what you're supposed to do in each step. A little bit different than previous issues of Revell kits where they just had one exploded view. Get information down here about sending away for their catalog, 10 cents, and you get yourself a Revell catalog. The back does have the full exploded view with the parts call out. And you could also, if you were missing parts, you could send in and get replacement pieces from Revell. Here are the kit supplied decals. These match the box art. This is for N1027, which is actually the prototype for the Revell, or for the Fairchild built F-27. It first flew on April 12th, 1958. It ended up having a mishap while it was still going through testing. The aircraft had finished its flight, was sitting on the ramp. One of the mechanics heard some hissing sound, and then the aircraft collapsed down on its landing gear. It ended up having to be written off, and but it was rebuilt as the first F-27A, which was a freighter version of the F-27. So here's a few images of that aircraft when it was in prototype form, and there's actually a few images of the accident that it went through. Now let's get into the kit itself. Molded in white styrene. As you can see, it's got some pretty delicate panel lines, recessed. It's all recessed. Recessed panel lines and recessed rivet detail. So pretty delicate for this era. Not much for interior, but the exterior is pretty nice. There's your two fuselage halves. Got a sprue with some of the smaller detail parts. Quite a bit of flash though. Something must have gone wrong with this mold to get that much flash, because most of these early kits usually don't have a whole lot of flash on them, so there must have been something wrong with that particular mold, because there is quite a bit of flash on this end here. Another sprue with some other small parts. Here's those movable ailerons and rudder pieces. Got your tires, engine cowlings, prop hubs. Here's some of your wing pieces. Again, real fine engraved detail. Here's the bottoms of the wings. Not much for the landing gear bays or wheel wells. Got your tail pieces. Again, quite a bit of flash on here. Really unusual for this time, but a lot of flash on it. Your props. Pretty nicely done. And here's your clear sprue. Like what we saw in the DC-8 kit, where it just had representation of windows, this actually has clear pieces to fill in the windows and the windscreen as well. Not too bad. The windscreen's actually fairly thin. I don't know about these. These look like little bubbles, but the windscreen at least is pretty nice. Then you have the famous Revell globe base that is included in this kit. And there's the stand, and here it looks like maybe parts for the air stairs. So that's all we got in this kit. Revell reissued this kit a few additional times throughout the years. It was also put out by a number of their international subsidiaries or partnerships. Revell Marusan in Japan, Revell Lodella in Mexico, Revell Kikoler in Brazil, and then again with Revell Kiko, which is later distributor for Revell in Japan. Final release of this kit was in 1997. Revell was reissuing a lot of their older kits, kind of a heritage collection where they reproduced some of the old box art, and then gave you some new decals with it, but it was still the same kit that was being reissued again. So here's some images of those box arts and those issues of the kit. Some additional information about this particular aircraft. As I mentioned earlier, N1027 was the first prototype. Had the gear collapse problem and was rebuilt as an F-27A. That aircraft ended up being delivered in June of 1959 to an Ecuadorian air carrier called AREA, A-R-E-A, Ecuador. And it flew with them for a short while. It was the pride of their fleet. Prior to that, they'd been flying a lot of older planes, DC-3s, things like that. So this was the pride of their fleet, but on November 7th, 1960, it ended up crashing. It struck a dormant volcano while it was on final approach. There's some inclement weather, and the pilot circled back around to try to get a better approach and ended up crashing about 150 feet below the tip of a Takazo volcano. And unfortunately, it killed everybody on board. There was 37 people, so 37 people lost their lives. So three crew and 34 passengers. At the time, it was the worst aircraft accident in Ecuador, and it was the first loss of life for the F-27, and ended up being the worst loss of life, highest number of fatalities in an F-27 crash. So here's some images of the aircraft when it flew in Ecuador. It was HC-ADV, and so they had their own unique paint scheme. So here's some images of that. Well, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching my video. If you got any questions, please put them down in the comments. Let me know if you've built this kit before. I'm interested to start hearing from some of the viewers if they've had any experience with any of the kits that we're presenting here. Let me know how well it worked for you, if you still have that kit, or if it's something you want to go back and rebuild again. Well, thanks for stopping by, and have yourself a great day.